Hey guys, it's Milka. Welcome back to my channel, NutAeum. I know this is another pretty stripped down video. I don't have my usual slightly fancier decorations and stuff. And I'm not even wearing jewelry, how dare I? But I will say January has been quite stripped down for me. I promise I will be back to my regular ways in February. But yes, I also wanted to say, well, I mean, by the time that this video is up, it's already past this, but Happy Lunar New Year to everybody. I'm actually filming this on the Lunar New Year, so there you go. It's got some extra lunar juice in the video. I also wanted to thank you guys for those of you who were so sweet to like wish me well, you know, from my last video. I appreciate it. And in the theme of stripped down, before we even get into the pile selection, oh, by the way, you know what, guys? Actually, I just wanted to share with you. It's so crazy because I went to watch Avatar in 4D. I'll keep it short because I know this is the intro. You guys want to get to your readings. But yeah, I went to see Avatar, The Way of Water in 4D, and it tripped me up so much because when there was a name. I don't want to give any spoilers because I don't, you know, but I'll give the name away. It's NutAeum. I was like, that like took me off guard. I was like, that's my company name. That's my thingy, you know? I mean, just pronounced a little differently. And then I looked it up later and I saw it was spelled differently, but I was just blown away because I never thought somebody else would like have a similar concept for a name. I don't know. It was very it was trippy, you know? So anything that happened to that character, I was like, God, are you talking to me? But anyway, I took it more seriously than it had to be taken. I just thought that was a funny story. I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. How do they have the same? I mean, it's spelled very differently, but just, I didn't know how it was spelled, you know, when I heard it. I was like, it sounds like they're pronouncing my thing wrong. But anyway, yes, before we get into the group selections, I just wanted to do a little bit of a plug like I normally do and let you guys know. I know I'm not wearing them today. Like I said, I'm more stripped down today. There's not much decoration. There aren't as many cards, I think, even. But I do custom crystal bracelets for those of you guys that are interested, that are charged with Reiki, they're charged with light language, they're custom attuned to you. Usually the bracelets are very unique to whoever they're made for. I choose the stone specifically for what it is that you would like to either embody, to attract, or to heal, or focus on in your life, or to have more of. And they get attuned to that. And like I said, they get attuned to your custom energy as well. And yeah, people tend to be pretty satisfied with those, and I'm grateful that I can help people in that way too. So if you guys are interested in that, or if you're interested in a private personal reading, you can reach out to me through either my email or through the contacts page on my website, which are all listed down below. All right, now let's get into the card selections. So if you may notice, all of the cards look similar because these are the backs of the cards. And I don't know, something about this video, I decided no crystals, you know, to help you guys choose. And I don't want you to see the fronts of the cards either, kind of like what I did in the last video, but last video you guys had crystals to choose from. So this time around, it's just picking a blank card, kind of like a little bit of a mystery. But I will say that this is group 1, this is group 2, this is group 3, and this is group 4. And I'm going to give you guys a moment to choose, and we'll get right into the readings. Hey, group 1. So this is your reading. Let's start you off with our little singing bowl friend. And let's reveal your card. Even I do not know what your card is. It is a mystery, if you will. And then we have balance. Cool. Number 12. The frequency of balance supports our ability to find harmony with all aspects of our three-dimensional and multi-dimensional layers of reality. Alrighty, I will set this to the side, and I have, as sorry, I kicked my leg, but yes, as usual, I just lost my train of thought there. I have pre-shuffled the cards, so let's just get straight into your reading. This top portion is going to be and this is going to be split into 4 portions. So the first 2 are going to be what are you currently experiencing, and this will be a great energy check to see if this is your reading or not. What you have the opportunity to leave behind in January, and then I'll get into the other part of the reading once we get to that. But yes, so let's start. We've got the 9 of Swords, the 2 of Pentacles, the Moon, Strength, Strength again, the 8 of Swords, the 4 of Swords, and the 2 of Swords. Okay, give me a moment, you guys. Un moment, plus. And I will let you know what I'm seeing. Okay. So, as far as what you guys are currently experiencing, to be completely honest, what it looks like, and it's interesting that you guys chose balance, right? Because you have the 2 of Pentacles here, which this person is trying to balance 2 of these coins, and you have the 2 of Swords, so you have the presence of 2s as well, which is also about balance. But I think you guys are currently, it feels like you're trying to stay in a calm place. And what I mean by that is it doesn't feel like you guys are in a constantly happy place. I don't think you guys are sad either. It just feels like, it almost feels like there's some kind of underlying emotion that wants to come out or come through, possibly through tears. And it's like constantly just right underneath the surface. And I feel like you guys are just, it's not like you're going out of your way completely to take yourselves out, hang out with lots of people. I think it's just you guys are currently trying to keep yourselves okay. I feel like right now you're, especially, I feel like this is going to pass, but this is more so currently, right? And a little bit of what's going on in January. But I feel like you guys have been, again, even with these 2 strength cards, it's like you're trying to stay strong. Like I don't want to say you're putting on a facade, because I feel like you've worked more on that, to try to be authentic while being in any state of being. I feel like you guys have done a bit of self-work, but I still feel like on some level a part of you is working on keeping that facade, or like it's just you're trying to be supporting yourself and what you're experiencing, to be open to experiencing it, to be open to releasing those emotions. So it feels like a very emotional time for you guys. Like emotions are constantly bubbling under the surface, and you're not sure when they're gonna flood over, and then you're gonna have to do like flood management or something. But yeah, that's what I'm picking up as kind of like the current energy. Also, there's something in regards to sleep. So either you guys are sleeping a lot, or because it feels a little like there's two breakouts, like 2 group breakouts here. So either you guys are sleeping a lot, Or I feel like the majority of you guys are not sleeping enough. Like you're staying up really late and then you're trying to catch up on your sleep during the day, and that leads to feeling not as great because you're missing out on sunlight or daytime. It feels like it's just interesting you guys chose balance, because I feel like that's what you guys are aiming for in your life, and you're having a little bit of a hard time. You're still waiting for the scales to stop tipping so drastically, like they're shaking almost before they kind of come down and act a little bit more still. And then what you guys have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of January. So there's a lot of sword energy here, and then the strength card again. The strength card being here twice, again, it's talking to me a little bit about that facade. Like almost like you're putting on a strong suit to yourself sometimes, where it almost feels as though you're in front of a mirror and you're about to cry, and like you shed a couple of tears and then you smile and you're like, it's okay. All is gonna be good. I'm okay. And then you walk out, And I feel like the reason they're mentioning that this is something you have the opportunity to leave behind is because it's almost like you guys have gotten so much better at surrendering, right? You've gotten so much better at letting your emotions be expressed, having the time and place for them. But I just feel like in those moments where you start shedding those tears, just allow yourself to cry a little bit more. Don't try to put the smile on right away. Cry, really let it out. I feel like you guys are releasing a lot through your crying right now. So it's okay if you're crying a lot, just really let it out. And as I'm saying this, I'm feeling tears coming to my eyes. So I feel like it's resonating, I also feel like another, sorry. This is such a serious portion of the reading, and I'm here making noises, moving my legs around. Sorry guys. But yes, I also feel like another thing you guys have the opportunity to leave again, you see with the Two of Swords, it's almost like you have to choose one or the other. You're not sure which one to prioritize because this person has the blindfold on. And it's like, you don't have to choose between the two. You don't have to choose like, oh, I'm going to smile even though I'm kind of having a distressing moment. It's okay to go through that distressing moment. It doesn't mean that you're now attracting sadness constantly. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to have human emotions. It's part of being human. It's part of being alive, right? Is feeling. And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad for a duration of time. Sometimes we need to feel that way in order to have realizations, to have things shown to us. So don't worry. I don't think you guys are going into depression. I just think you're going through a little sad spurt, like a little emotional phase. And you guys don't have to worry that it's like depression or something, because I feel like you guys may be trying to control it by like putting on that smile or trying to change your emotion after feeling this way for a couple of weeks, because you're worried that you're just gonna spiral or go into a darker place, or like your focus is gonna change. And that's not the case. I really don't feel like that's the case. I just feel like you guys are just going off of the past or worry. You just need to go through this emotion and let it fully come out, and then you're gonna see things are just gonna start shifting naturally, okay? I also feel like you guys, in January, I think moving into February, your sleeping patterns are going to be better. They feel like healthier, So if you were sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, I feel like you're going to start getting a little bit of that balance in February, because I'm seeing you leaving behind or starting to leave that behind in January. I say starting to because I feel like it's going to trickle into the first week of February as well for you guys working on adjusting this. But I feel like you guys are coming back into a healthy kind of a place, okay? And yeah, I also feel like you get to leave behind the mindset of feeling like kind of caught or stuck in what you're experiencing at the moment. But yes, that was this portion of the reading. Now let's get into the focus for February. So, the top portion is going to be what is your material world focus in the month of February? And then in the second portion, it's going to be what does divine want you to focus on healing in the month of February, okay? And then after all of that, we're going to be looking in final messages and advice. So we have the Hermit, the Queen of Wands, Strength. Again, interesting. What you're currently experiencing, you got a Strength card. What you have the opportunity to leave behind, you have a Strength card. And then what your material world focuses is the Strength card. So I think that's really interesting. Then we have the Three of Cups, the Page of Wands, the Two of Wands, and the Hermit again. Oh, we have a lot. Okay. How to do this? I will place this card here since you got a chance to look at it, and I didn't realize you guys got so many cards for this portion of the reading. So we have the Hierophant and the Eight of Wands. And then we also have the Five of Swords, Judgment, Ten of Wands, the Four of Wands, the Five of Swords again. Okay, actually, we're going to need all the space we can get. I didn't realize you guys had so many cards. The Hierophant again. You guys have a lot of repeating cards. And the Knight of Wands. All right. Then we'll get into your advice stuff after. Alrighty. So, 1 second, my friends. Okay. All right. I feel like your material world focus in the month of February, there seems to be, with the Hermit coming up twice, it feels like there's like an introspection. I feel like you guys are coming even more so into yourselves. I think because with the Queen of Wands and the Strength card coming up again, I'm seeing you guys starting to get excited again, starting to get, not excited, well, excited too, I guess, but it's more so motivated, right? I'm seeing you guys start to get motivated again. Like if you do things normally, like say, for example, you go to the gym and you normally do it every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, right? But for the last couple of weeks, just getting yourself to go, even though you've been doing it for like over a year, right? So you've fallen into a habit. But sorry guys, but the last like couple of weeks, it's almost as though you guys have just been having such a hard time to get up and go do it. And it's not that you don't do it. Maybe you have lowered it to like 2 days instead of 3 now. And like you still don't want to go those other 2 days, but like somehow you force yourself to. I feel like that's going to be shifting in February a little bit more. Like, again, I feel like it's going to trickle into the first week of February, the past stuff, and then you're going to start seeing the shift. But it's almost like they're giving you that message of hope, you know, like just letting you know in February, it's like you're getting your life back on track. I'm not seeing too much romantic stuff, but I feel like it's because the focus is just you. It's like you coming back, and you're coming back in a way that feels stronger. And I feel like, again, with this Hierophant card, I just feel like you guys are gaining more joy, and you're gonna find fulfillment in the companionship that friendship can offer. you know. I feel like you guys are gonna start, you could even start like a new hobby or a new project or some kind of a little class, or like a like it's some kind of a something that's fun. It feels creative. So maybe you guys have been wanting to get into music, so you take a music class. Maybe you guys have been wanting to try painting, so you take a painting class or a pottery class. Like it feels creative in some way. But I feel like you guys are just kind of, in February, you're getting back to where you were. You see, so it's like what I was saying before. What you're feeling is temporary. So allow yourself to kind of shed that layer of needing to make yourself happy and just feel what you feel. Don't worry, it's gonna come off naturally, okay? It's gonna come off naturally. And with this strength card has a different meaning from the other two strength cards. This is you coming back stronger. You know, it's almost like you stepped into the depths of a pool and now you're coming out of the water stronger and more self-assured and more secure than you came in. Right? So it kind of cleansed off some of those insecurities. That's what your emotions have been doing right now for you, or have been doing in the past couple of weeks, especially while Mercury was in retrograde. But yeah, so I do feel like in February, a lot of the material world focus seems to be planning, trying, like finding some kind of a creative thing and like going for classes or some kind of a course or something, like trying some kind of a new creative thing. And again, like I said, I see planning, I see excitement, right? And it almost feels like you guys are back, you know. It's like you're back with a passion, you know. And yeah, it seems like it's really nice. I'm seeing you guys getting excited about stuff and planning, and some of you guys may even be planning a trip, planning some kind of a trip. It doesn't feel international though. This feels like a slightly smaller trip. It's almost like you're rewarding yourself, you know, for some. So I feel like it's within your country, but I feel like you're rewarding yourself with a little weekend trip or something in March or something, because I feel like you're planning it towards the end of February. And in February, you're starting to get like more excited about creating things, I think. And then what Divine would like you to focus on healing in the month of February. So we have, it's interesting that we have the 5 of Swords twice. Give me a second, guys. I'm just trying to get the full picture first. Okay. Because we have the 5 of Swords twice, for me, the 5 of Swords is very much correlated with the ego. So, and then you have Judgment and you have the Hierophant. These are pretty like divine cards, right? So I feel like on some level, Divine is asking you to heal. Like I feel like you guys have already been on a bit of a journey. You know, you worked on it, you touched on it a bit, then you let it go, then you touch on it, then you kind of stay stagnant, then you touch on it again. Like I feel like you've already been in the process of working on or towards this, but I feel like Divine is asking you to focus on healing your ego, in the sense that it feels like there are still parts of you that feel like you need to handle things alone. Like you need to do things alone. Like you need to keep things secret in order to protect them, the outcome. Because in your head, it's like you're still doing it alone. So I feel like on some level, they're asking you to share, right? To be more excited, to continue to push yourself out of your comfort zone and stop playing small in your life. To stop feeling like you're shouldering this massive burden. It's like bring the focus back to you, not like you're doing all of these planning things and exciting things for others. You're doing it for yourself, right? Do things for your, it's almost like it feels more like advice than anything else. Because like I said, I feel like you guys are a little bit more conscious of this and you've been working on this, but it feels more like they're advising you to do things for your joy and to continue to realize that you don't have to handle things alone. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to keep it to yourself. You don't have to be the only one walking that path, right? It's like I was saying, the material world focus, it's finding that gratification or the companionship that you're seeking within friendship, within friends, like realizing like, oh, I do have these people in my life, because I feel like you still have those people in your life for certain things, you know, like temporary things. Like this person is only here for this long. This person is only here because I'm there. And so once that's done, that relationship is done. This person, I can only talk to them with, I can only talk about this with this person. I can only talk about that with that person, you know, but it's like, it's not true. Have you tried? Have you tried opening up about the things that you normally don't talk about to those people? You'd be surprised at how much they would be willing to listen and hear you out, you know? I think it's just because you guys are so used to that isolation, that isolating thoughts, that even though you've gotten better, you still kind of have this process of thinking you don't have somebody or a couple of people in your life that you can rely on for all things, that you can talk about with all things. Sure, they may not necessarily naturally lean towards those things, right? Like say maybe they're not necessarily big into aliens in space, but they help you in the more practical parts of your life. Well, give it a try, because you never know. This person may care about you enough to entertain the idea of aliens in space, to entertain, like to be open-minded to hearing it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's more so, again, it's just advice, because I feel like you guys are already working on trying to address this. Okay? And also, remember when I was saying about playing small? I feel like, again, there's like this emphasis on like, don't continue to shine, right? Don't play small. And when you get an idea, just go for it. Just go for it. Don't hold yourself back anymore. Now is the time to run, okay? Don't hesitate. Don't worry about tripping over a branch or a tree. Just run. All right, you guys? Now let's look at the final messages. The final messages. Yeah, because I feel like you guys have been putting so much, for a long time in your life, you had put on this pressure, right, of being on your own and meeting a certain level or standard of perfection, which just is not happening, you know, and you guys have worked on shifting that, but it's like time to really completely drop that kind of a thing, you know, and you're getting there. So we have ascendant. Ironic that we were talking about just going for it, right? The ascendant, it's in the first, it starts the first house. This is immediate action, instant, right? Then we have the first quarter moon, which is great because this is talking about new beginnings. The first quarter moon, it's like passionate. You're like starting, it's not the same as like a new moon where you're just in the baby process of starting something, where you're planting a seed. The first quarter moon, it's like you're actually going to start seeing progress for the stuff. Say, for example, you've been, like an air mattress, right? You've had the air pumping the air mattress. And for the first minute or something, it still looks flat, but it's actually being filled up with air. And because it's being filled up with air, when it gets closer to being full, it's like out of nowhere, you see it just inflate and it's like ready. You know, so like at first it may look like the new moon is when you're putting in those seeds, those little things of air where it still kind of looks flat, doesn't look like it's making a difference. The first quarter moon, it's like you're starting to actually see the seeds that you've planted come into fruition. Then we have the 8th house. ironically enough, this is the last quarter moon. We have hunt and objective. Okay, so with hunt and objective, again, it just feels like, remember I was saying like your healing focus feels more like advice than anything else. I feel like it's kind of similar advice here. It's talking about taking immediate action. It's talking about going for the things that you want, that you get excited about. It's really like you get a thought, act on it immediately. You get a thought, just go for it. You know, trust that divine has got your back, because the universe does have your back, right? God, the universe, divine, they've got your back. So just go for it. I feel like you went through this little phase with the emotional stuff. Now that you're getting back on, it's like you're more sure of yourself. You're receiving insights through creativity, through these ideas, right? These ideas are actually hints on getting you to where you're meant to be, where you're supposed to be, where you would be happiest. You just got to take action on them as they come immediately, okay? And let me roll the dice for you guys as the final message. So we have 16, Jupiter, Cancer, and 11. 16 is the Tower. Okay, so with the Tower and Jupiter, I feel like it's talking about that immediate action. The Tower is something that's unexpected. You know, it's like a lightning strike. It's something that is unexpected. You couldn't have predicted it. Jupiter only magnifies that. So it's like you don't have room to plan. And I feel like that's maybe what you guys have been doing before. You try to plan for things. Like say, for example, you want to do music, right? And you're like, okay, when I have this, this, and this, I can start. But it's like, this is what this combination is saying. You're doing those things because you want to feel ready to start, right? But what this combination is saying is, if you feel ready to start, it's too late. You're going to get this again, something in February, something is going to come to you. Go for it. Don't hesitate thinking you have to prepare. Just go for it. Say yes to it. Whether it's something you have to do yourself or sign up for or whatever, say yes to it. And I feel like with Cancer in the 11th house, it's about you guys getting comfortable, because Cancer is nurturing and the 11th house is friendships. So I feel like it's you guys getting comfortable being out in the world, being out in society, and getting the nurturing and nourishment and companionship again that you need through friends. Okay, so it's time for you guys to get some friends. It's time for you guys to take some action. But yes, and just like that, that's the end. That was your reading, group 1. I hope you guys enjoyed. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below, if it resonated, how you guys have been handling the emotional stuff. And if you already have an idea of kind of like what this whole take action, don't wait until you're ready thing, if you have an idea of what it might be, it's okay if you don't. But yeah, like I said, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. And I would also appreciate if you guys subscribe to my channel, as I've got more fun stuff coming. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And though it is already past, happy Lunar New Year. And I hope you guys have, I don't know, happiness and joy and love. Yes. All right. Bye, group 1. Hey, group 2. Welcome to your reading. Let me ring the singing bowl for you. And I just finished shuffling your cards. And I'm curious to see what your picky card is. I don't know what this is, what to call this. Like the card that you chose is, I guess that's what I should have said from the beginning. I don't know why I tried to give it a name. But yes, even I don't know what it, oh, expression. I think yours was actually the only one that flipped out when I was shuffling. But yes, you have number 19, expression. The frequency of expression supports our ability to bring out our true essence through many different forms of communication. All right, you guys, before we, we'll probably touch on this during the reading, but I just wanted to let you guys know the structure of the reading if you're not familiar with my healing focus videos. It's going to be broken up into, 4/5 parts. 5 because the last part or portion is just like advice or final messages. But the first 2 portions are going to be what are you currently experiencing, what you have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of January. So, and then I'll get into the other 2 portions after we go through these. But the what are you currently experiencing is also a good thing for doing like a bit of an energy check to see if this is actually your group or not. But yes, we've got the Page of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, the 5 of Cups, the Sun, the 4 of Cups. Then we have the Fool, 6 of Wands, the Hermit, the 9 of Wands, and the Tower. Okay. I'm sorry to say, but I will say it because that is what just came through in my head. I don't think this applies to all of you guys, but I just heard somebody here is a drama queen. So that being said, maybe you guys are actually into theater, like musical theater, acting. Because I'm feeling like some of y'all are very dramatic, which is interesting that we've got expression and that's coming through. But yes, give me 1 second to see what I am seeing from these cards, and I'll start the reading. Just 1 moment, you guys. Sorry, I'm just moving the table closer. I took 1 look at you. And then my heart stood still. Let's see. It's interesting, right? Because I'm getting that you guys are actually not in a really difficult place. I feel like you guys are kind of pushing through in positivity and looking at the glass half full, to the point where you may have little hiccups that come up, little things that feel uncomfortable, but I feel like you guys are deflecting a little bit, or you're shifting your focus and you're just trying to find the thing to be grateful for in the situation instead. Because you guys feel like super sweet, you feel super sweet, super cheesy at times. You could be kind of like a hopeless romantic at heart. You feel silly, playful, and when it comes to handling some harder emotions that may have come up recently, I feel, I don't want to say you brush them off, but I feel like you shift your focus a lot. Like you'll, like say somebody bumps shoulders into you, and instead of being like, how could they just walk past me or through me like that, you go, maybe they were in a rush because they're late to work and they can't spare a moment, like I feel like you get upset for a second and then you change that feeling by looking for something to be grateful for. Which I do want to say, like, though that's admirable, I would also advise for you guys to not repress the initial emotion that you feel. Like, express it in some way, not necessarily to the person, but just so it comes out, right? Because you don't want this process to be a form of repressing your emotions. Oh, and then we have expression. Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting this is your card. But yes, yeah, like you've got to express those emotions, guys, because, and I'm saying this from experience, when I was younger, I used to do that a lot. If people shoved past me, if anybody was disrespectful or cut me off or anything that was mean, I was looking for the best possible outcome, because I don't want to just judge them off of that. But what ended up happening without me realizing is that anytime that I felt that anger or upset for what felt like an injustice to me, I found a way to, I was suppressing it by making it seem justified, by trying to justify it, right? To justify their action, not justify my emotion. And so that festers in you, that sits, and you kind of repress yourself a little by not expressing your anger. And I'm not saying if somebody walks past you and knocks into your shoulder, yell out at them, hey, how dare you? But it feels like do something, whether it's a hand gesture to the ground or like a silent scream or just like a frustrated arm shake, or write about it later or something. Let it out before going on and justifying, you know, because it's important to be happy and stay in a positive place, but it's also important to not repress what you're feeling. And then what you guys have the opportunity to leave, because it looks like almost even with this Four of Cups, right? You're not looking at, even here, this person is looking at one thing but not seeing the other thing. This person is looking at these things but not seeing the other thing. It's kind of similar. And then what you guys have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of January is it's interesting because there's a lot of stuff talking about loneliness. You've got the Fool, which this person is going on a journey on their own with just their spirit team, right? With this dog. The Hermit, this person is on their own with this light looking in. The Nine of Wands, this person is standing out from the rest of the wands. They're isolated, right? They're the ones making that first step. The Six of Wands, this person is isolated. They're glorified because they've just come back from like a battle or something. So everyone is celebrating them, but they're the only ones on a horse. They're on the pedestal. There's some kind of a divide here. And I feel like that's what you guys have the opportunity to leave behind is that isolation, that sensation of isolation. So I think that's interesting because on some level, group one had a slightly similar message. I say on some level because it was also a bit different from you guys, but there are some parallels, I will say, but it is different. But yeah, I feel like there's almost like an advice that in January, something you can leave behind is this need to do things on your own, or this sensation that I feel like it's not even a sensation. Like I feel like it's time for you guys to start hanging out with friends. I think like in January, there was a lot of alone time, and maybe for some of you guys just have a lot of alone time in general. But now is the time, like moving into February, it's about going into relationships that you have or establishing new relationships, not necessarily romantically, just because Valentine's Day is in February. But I feel like you guys, it's more so about you taking a risk and you going out into the world, and it's okay if it, like, I feel like you guys are going out, like it's time for you to just go out, do random things, play, have fun, okay? And that's what you can leave, and leaving behind, like doing things on your own in January. Okay, now let's take a look at the next sections of cards. So the top portion is going to be what is your material world focus for the month of February. And then the bottom will be what does Divine want you to focus on healing in the month of February. Oh, I did not shuffle your advice cards. You will be the rare group that witnesses me shuffling on camera later, because I don't think I'm going to cut anything out. So then we have Nine of Swords, Death, the Empress, Two of Pentacles, Pentacalis, Nine of Pentacalis. Oh, you have the Eight of Wands again. And then you have Strength, as well as the Hierophant, Seven of Cups, Two of Cups. This is a cute card. Look, they're riding on a horse together, right? We're talking about being alone on a horse, and now these people are on a horse going through it together. And we have the Five of Coins, the Seven of Wands. Didn't you have that twice? No, it was the Seven of Cups. The Star, and the Ace of Wands. Okay, give me a moment, y'all. Also, I do feel like you guys have a little bit of a romantic vibe to you, because I keep getting these love songs, right? Like, I don't know what I was singing earlier. Was it like Unforgettable? And then now I just had the song from Snow White when she sings into the well and like, someday my prince will come. But she doesn't sing it like that. She sings it more like, someday my prince will come. That's how I hear it in my head. Wait, that is Snow White, isn't it? Or is that Cinderella? Someday when spring is near, you'll find on your own. I think it's Snow White. I think it's Snow White. Isn't that the wishing well? So, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not important. Yeah, okay. So material world focus. It's interesting that you guys have the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Swords and Death, and then you have the Empress. That's a really nice order to have things. The Nine of Swords tends to be a card of distress, panic, emotion, and then you have Death here. And it's interesting because in this version of the Death card, you have this fish looking at itself in the mirror and then a light shining through, or in its own reflection, right? An echo of itself. So I feel like this is kind of what we were talking about in regards to your emotions and allowing yourself to express them, because as you do that, you actually become more empowered. You have the Empress here. You guys are so powerful, you're so strong, you're so capable of getting things done. And I don't want to say you guys you don't put yourself in a victim mentality, but I think just like that song was playing in my head, right? Like, someday my prince will come. I feel like you guys are in that place where you're still kind of waiting for love. I don't want to say you're waiting for love to start your life, but like you're waiting for love to appear in your life and like to be doing things with I don't know, there's like this sensation of waiting. And I feel like, and it's specifically for romantic stuff, and I feel like they're asking you not to wait. Like, don't wait, just go, do, try, start, you know? I know that's not the most fun advice to hear, but I feel like right now it's like, focus on expressing yourself, focus on making your emotions known, focus on joy, right? Continue focusing on your joy, but especially on expressing yourself, because girl, you need to express yourself, okay? Or when I say girl, I don't mean it like actually like I'm only addressing females. It's just a way of speech. But yes, so I feel like you guys are so close to emerging fully, completely. It's just this little thing that you're going through, and I feel like February is going to be that time where you're emotionally going through it. Like I feel as though if you find yourself being sad or in distress in February, don't be too upset with yourself, because this is you allowing those emotions to come to the surface that we were talking about with the repression, right? They're coming to the surface, and now you're going to be living in a way where you express yourself more immediately, so that things don't get stifled or repressed. And you're going to emerge. Like, March is going to be a good month for you guys, okay? I'm not saying February is going to be really hard and difficult and you have to be worried. Like, not at all. It's just if you find yourself being possibly a little bit more emotional, or having too much focus on like anger or the things that you're feeling, Just know that it's okay. Like, basically, don't judge yourself. Because I feel like a lot of this has to do with healing emotionally. So your material world focus seems to be more on like self-nourishment, really, like allowing yourself to come through. 8 of Wands is also, it's a communication card. Strength, you see, she's got the lion. She's got a portion of her that is a lion that is coming through, you know, like she's not hiding her identity, how she feels, that anger that comes through in the moment. And this infinity symbol is above the lion portion, right? Because anger, rage, frustration, being open with what's on your heart, those are all parts of being healthy, whole, and complete, you know? Because it's like nobody is just good and nobody is just bad, right? It's like the balance, like you have the 2 of Pentacles, it's the balance between the light and the dark. Same thing with like the most healthiest divine being has a balance as well, you know? At least in like 3D form. I don't know about the higher dimensional beings, what their thing is like, but in 3D, it's about that balance, okay? So it feels like February is more so about nourishing yourself and allowing yourself to come out of your shell, express yourself, and feel, just feel. Get your things out, your emotions, your frustrations, what you're feeling, get it out, okay? And then what Divine would like you to focus on healing. I feel like some of you guys are really set on the one. Like you guys are really set on finding that ultimate partner, that you're hoping to have this like wish fulfillment with this ultimate dream person. And it's been keeping you guys, like it's almost like, because you guys can be pretty loyal, it's been keeping you from trying new things, from trying new people, right? It's almost like I'm waiting for the one, and so I won't accept anybody else. And I feel like that's that mindset. It's just holding you back, because it's like, are you really not going to live your life because you're waiting for the one? Are you really going to deny yourself intimacy, possible new friendships and relationships because they're not the one? You know what I mean? Don't think of it as this long-term thing. Think of it as giving yourself experience in life. So I feel like in February, there's like a little bit of a focus of releasing the fact that you just have this one ultimate person that you are so set on that it keeps you from having fun and dating new people and stuff, you know? I also feel like there's also a focus on healing, like the parts, like basically healing what we were talking about, where you repress, right, by changing the emotion, or by telling yourself, oh, this might be the reason why they're doing, like you're justifying the other person, so you repress what you feel. I feel like there's also this thing of talking about healing that as well, where you're letting yourself come out, where because even here with the 7 of Wands and the 5 of Coins, it's, to me, it's talking about the 7 of Wands is like protecting that vulnerability within you. It was not only like the cage keeping your emotions repressed by defending other people, but it's also you keeping yourself, really your true self, hidden away, your hurts, all parts of you, you know, not just the happy parts, but the sad parts too, right? It's like the happy parts are more easily seen, but you repress the sad parts or the lonely parts, and you put like this defensive shield around them. And it makes it hard for people to come into your life. And how is somebody supposed to really like you for you if they don't see all parts of you? You know? And why would you want to have somebody in your life that doesn't want to see you on your rainy days just as much as they want to see you on your sunny days? Right? So again, with this expression, it feels like it's more so about being authentic, just authenticity to yourself, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to feel the things that you've repressed for yourself, and to be vulnerable enough to be open to expressing those things in front of other people, so that you can filter through the people that should be in your life and shouldn't, you know? And you'd be surprised at like the relationships that you create from those places where you're just being your true self. Those are the real relationships, because automatically you're not like projecting a certain persona or just half of you, and that half of you will be liked. You're projecting all of you, right? So I feel like with the 5 of Coins and the 7 of Wands, it's also talking about lowering your guard a little bit. And even though you feel uncomfortable talking to people, because it feels like there's more fantasy about love than there is actually action, just open yourself up to the world a little bit more, to love, to romance, because the whole healing thing seems to be more so focused on romance, romantic aspects, right? Like waiting for the one to start your life, to start having fun and dating, and then also being closed off, so not really allowing people into your life, you know? So it's like you've got to take down the wall. You're going to be vulnerable and it's going to feel scary, but the whole point is that that's part of life, right? Fear, experience, excitement, nervousness, happiness, joy, sadness, all of those things are part of the experience of life. And though the hard times feel really hard, the great times can feel so incredible. And it makes it all worth it, you know? And you taking that risk, and instead of thinking of like, what if they reject me? What if they accept you? How wonderful would that be? You know, it's like a shift in perspective. Okay? All right, now let's get into your advice, or final messages, I should say. And you guys are the rare group that will get to witness me shuffling on camera. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, because that's why I cut out the shuffling. Sometimes it takes long. I will say for your group, when I was shuffling, cards were flying. They're just flying out. Yes, let's see. Final messages for... Okay, we have Ascendant. We have the 8th house. I'm going to take this too. We have the lunar eclipse. And all right, so we have the beginning of spring, the last quarter moon, objective, which is funny because that came out for the last group, and create. Interesting. Oh, actually, I think I can lay them out here. Perfect. Okay, so I feel like with Ascendant, again, this is talking about expression and immediate expression, because the Ascendant is the thing that marks the first house. It is the first appearance, right? The first impression. And I feel like, again, it's just, they're asking for that first impression to be authentic, because you've got the 8th house. The 8th house, there's mystery in the 8th house, because that's the house of Scorpio. So there is mystery, there's deep thought, there's deep emotion. And it's almost like, let that come to the surface. Let people see the other parts of you. Because even with this eclipse, it's like the duality, right? The light, the dark, the day, the night. And the lunar eclipse, the moon is emotions. Let people see this part of you. Let it come to the surface. Let it come to the surface, what you really truly feel. And then because we have the beginning of spring here and the last quarter moon, the beginning of spring is making me, I think March is when spring starts, right? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so this is actually making me think of March. But with the beginning of spring and the last quarter moon, I feel like they're talking about new things beginning for you and old things coming to an end, just like you had death earlier, right? It's like you've got, and then you had, it was like the Nine of Swords, death, and the Empress. The Empress is all about fruition. Like fruition? Is that a word? Abundance, prosperity, right? Fertility. Fruition is a word, but that's not the word I was thinking of. But yeah, abundance, fertility, prosperity, fulfillment, right? Nourishment. So I feel like with the beginning of spring, again, it's just talking about the fact that as some things are coming to a close in your life, you are getting new things beginning, new starts. So that's why it feels like a baby experiencing the outside world for the first time. Scary, exhilarating, nerve-wracking. Like it's just all these different emotions and sensations that you're feeling, you know? And it's normal. It's because you're getting a new start on certain things. And then with objective and create, I feel like with objective, it's almost like it's not going to be easy for you to express your emotions or to come to terms with allowing them to be felt so that you feel like you genuinely let it out. But the whole point is you're setting the intention of doing that. And because you're setting the intention, that's already a big step. Okay? It's like practice makes perfect. You're not going to be good at expressing yourself right away. You may feel awkward. You may feel like, why am I doing this? This feels phony. This feels silly. I can't even do it. That's okay. It's like practice, right? Practice will help. And then with create, I feel like that's also talking about like the beginning of spring here, where it's just like things are in the works for you guys, okay? You've just got to kind of let out a couple of things before those new things can come in. And then let's get the dice. So we've got 2, 12, the 2 flipped to a 12, there it is. 12, 2, Aries, and Jupiter. Interesting that we're talking about Aries because Aries season starts in March, right? And I keep getting, with this beginning of spring, like I normally don't think of the months, but I'm getting March with this. Aries starts with March. 12 and 2, the 12 for me, it's like the ending of a cycle, right? It's the last house in the zodiac. So it's an ending, and you're going to start feeling your new beginning or experiencing your new beginning closer to March. Okay. And then with Jupiter and 2, again, it's like there seems to be an emphasis on how you guys perceive those parts of yourself. Why do you try to change your emotion and give people the benefit of the doubt? Why do you try to alter how you feel? Because you feel like certain feelings are ugly or they're not nice, you know, they're not pleasant, they don't make you feel good. It's time to look at those things and realize that it's just a part of being alive, okay? And yeah, it's a part of being alive, it's part of the experience, and it's important to have those things. Duality is key in order to reflect, right? If it was just you, how on earth would you be able to understand who you are or how you act? Like if you think about it, if somebody gives you a certain compliment, right? And you're just like, really? Like, I don't see it. And it's like, yeah, because you live as yourself, you know, every day. So the duality is somebody on the outside or like an energy on the outside showing you. They're like, this is how you are. And you're like, oh, wow, really? I didn't know that. So duality is important. Same thing with emotions. You wouldn't know what happiness is without feeling sadness. You wouldn't know what gratitude is without feeling like lack, you know, frustration. All right. Okay, group 2, that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light. If you guys are interested in a personal reading or a custom crystal bracelet, you can reach out to me in the modalities down below. And also I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Do you guys know, was that a Snow White song? Was that a Cinderella song? I'm not sure. did the reading resonate for you guys? You know, is this something that you're looking forward to starting to work on? And also, I would love to communicate with you guys in the comments as well. So I just like to hear from you. I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And also if you guys subscribe to the channel, I appreciate all of your support. And yeah, that was your reading. And oh, happy Lunar New Year, even though this is being posted like a couple of days after the New Year. But yeah, happy Lunar New Year. Lots of love to you guys. Bye, Group 2. Hey, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. I just finished shuffling your cards. Yes, we are in a different setting at the moment as I had to relocate. And before we reveal this card, because I also don't know what it is, I wanted to say that when I was shuffling your cards, like with one of the groups, it was taking a while. Another group, the cards were flailing, you know, like they were just flying out. And then with you guys, I feel like there was more, I was pulling cards out in random portions, you know, like there felt to be more clarity, more precision, more, even if I'm not used to making decisions or taking action, or like I used to be indecisive, now I'm making choices, you know, that's kind of what it feels like. But yes, let me grab the cards that I pulled for you. And before I reveal this, I'll also say, this reading is like split up for those of you who are unfamiliar with my healing focus for the month videos. It's kind of like 5 sections to the reading. So the 5th section is just going to be final messages, but the first 2 and then the 3rd and 4th one are broken up into 2, right? So we've got the first section is going to be where are you currently at, and this is a good energy check to help you guys see if this is your group or not. And then on the bottom, it will be what you have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of January. And then I'll explain the other sections once we get there. But let's reveal your card. You have interesting 6th chakra. I think this is interesting because I feel like when I was shuffling, I think you guys got like a High Priestess card somewhere. But I think this is interesting. The 6th chakra. It says, the energy of the 3rd eye chakra supports our inner insight and intuitive abilities. And it's funny because we were talking about making a decision, right? And clarity. There's more, I think I mentioned there's more clarity or something with your cards, pulling your cards. And 6th chakra is about clarity, right? It's about being able to see. So let's get right into your reading. So we have the Knight of Wands. 4 of Swords, Strength, the Emperor, the 6 of Wands, the 3 of Wands, the 5 of Wands, the World, and then we'll look at the other cards when we get to those sections. Okay. So give me a moment, you guys, to piece together what I'm seeing. Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about that clarity and action, and what I'm currently seeing for you guys, there's a lot of fiery energy. The Emperor actually is an Aries card. Strength is a Leo card. The Knight of Wands, I think, is associated with Sagittarius. Don't quote me on that. But the point being said, they all contain fire energy apart from this one Swords card. And the 4 of Swords is it's a healing card. It talks about inner, like, peace. You know, there's a sense of peace. It's a death that leads to a rebirth. The 3 of Swords is 3 swords in a heart. Here they're pulled out, you know? So I feel like it's interesting because there's a healing aspect and then there's this fiery energy, this bold personality. And because of the fieriness, it's like, it is direct. It is making a decision. So I feel like that actually is where you guys currently are in your life. I think you, even if before you may have been indecisive or you may have had, I hope that this is focused. It's kind of hard to see. If it is, I hope you guys can see everything okay. Sorry if you can't, but... Oh, let me ring the singing bowl for you. Yeah, because I do that for every group. But yeah, I do feel like there's a lot more drive. There's a lot more fieriness. There's a lot more action and decisiveness. And it doesn't feel decisiveness like how I am 100% firm in my decision always, but it almost feels like I'm not going to stand here in the cereal aisle trying to figure out which cereal I want between these 5 options. I like all 5. I'm just going to grab one. You know, it feels more like I don't have the patience to be stuck here. Like I'm tired of being stuck in this place of indecision. I'm just going to choose, you know? So because of that, there feels like there's more directness. There's more assertive energy that is kind of emanating from you guys. I feel like you're tapping into your more divine inner masculine energy, and that has nothing to do with genders. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. Masculine energy is more direct. It makes the decisions. It's a form of providing. It's logical, you know, and I feel like that directness, that decision making is currently where you guys are at. And it's interesting because it's tied with healing. So I feel like you guys weren't always in that place, but you've stepped out of a victim mentality, I feel like a while ago, and you started taking control and charge of your life. And this is how you're doing it now. And then what you have, and if that resonated with you, then I guess this is your group. So then we'll look at what you have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of January. Let us see. It's interesting because these aren't necessarily bad cards or anything. Like they're not speaking of anything negative. If anything, like I'm seeing somebody who's coming back from a journey, somebody who's planning, somebody who's come home to kind of deal with the mess, you know, and you deal with it. Like it doesn't feel this for you guys. I feel like the other readings, it's been kind of clear with you guys. It doesn't seem so, with all the directness we've got going on, it doesn't seem like you guys have too much to leave behind. It almost feels like a message of like, hey, don't worry, whatever stuff you came back to when you were away, whether it was like you took a tiny break or like an emotional break from somebody and now you're like, okay, I'm ready to be back in that relationship, whatever kind of a way that you did and break that you took, now that you're coming back to whatever it was, it's like, yeah, you're just kind of picking up the pieces. You're like, oh, I can't believe there's a mess again. But it's not, again, it doesn't feel like a big deal. You guys are just navigating through it. So it doesn't feel like, I feel like you guys actually are the group so far, the only group so far where you don't have to worry much about anything that in particular you should be leaving behind. I feel like if anything, they're just talking about embracing a new beginning with you guys. And yeah. And what I mean by embracing a new beginning is instead of like being like, oh, like I went to this country a few weeks ago and I just came back and it was so nice. I just want to leave again, you know? And you think back, oh, when I was like, if it's cold now, you're like, oh, when I was there, it was warm. If it's raining now, oh, when I was there, it was always sunny. Like instead of thinking like that, it's just kind of like be a little bit more present, plan for the next adventure, you know? Don't dwindle on that last month stuff that you did. Okay, next we're going to be looking at, the top is going to be your material world focus in the month of February. And then the bottom will be what divine wants you to focus on healing in the month of February. So we have the 9 of Cups. Can you see? The Queen of Swords. The High Priestess. Yeah, I saw the High Priestess come on. Let me actually move these closer. The Empress. The Queen of Swords again. The 9 of Swords. Let me see if I can move this little, because we do have one more card to squeeze in. I hope you guys can hear me. I am talking quieter. We have the 10 of Wands. And sorry about the cough, you guys. It's gotten better because I'm taking medicine for it, but 'tis still there. If the moon chariot. Oh, so this is actually the equivalence of just the chariot. I was confusing for a moment. I was like, the moon and chariot? What? The Two of Wands, which came out early. No, that was the 3, I think. The Lady of Cups. So that's the Queen of Cups. Interesting. There's a lot of different colors in this deck, and most backgrounds are not this vibranty purple, but you guys have 3 cards with this background color, which is a rare color in this deck from my experience. And then you have the Sun. Then we also have the Moon. Oh, wow, the Moon. The Sun, the Moon. All that's missing is the stars. The Knight of Swords and the Emperor, which you had earlier. Interesting. Okay, so give me a second. I'm gonna set, these are the final message cards to the side. Let me take a sip of water, you guys. Okay, I don't know if you can see all of these, so I'll also shift. Also shift the cards. Okay. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Yeah, with the Queen of Swords coming up twice, in regards to the material world focus for you guys, it's interesting, right? Because here you've got a lot of positive cards, and then these 2 are the ones that are a little heavier. And I think you guys have learned that the reason you've started making those decisions is you've learned you can kind of, it almost feels like the belief that you can only rely on yourself, or either you feel that way or you want to only rely on yourself. There seems to be like a desire, need, or already attainment of self-independence, like over-independence though. With the Nine of Cups and the High Priestess and the Empress and the Queen of Swords, I feel like in February, you guys are going to have even more insight. There seems to be like happy moments as well, joy. Nine of Cups is a wish fulfillment card. It's a wish fulfillment card. So this person is really satisfied and gratified. And you've got the Empress, which is all about like fertility and abundance and prosperity, and the High Priestess, which is in tune and aligned, and the Queen of Swords. But notice these are all it's funny too, because these are feminine energies. You guys had a lot of masculine fiery energy in where you currently are at, and now you have a lot of feminine energies present here with the Queen of Swords, the Empress, the High Priestess. These are all feminine. The Queen of Swords again, right? So I think it's interesting how there's more focus on like retaining that balance of coming back into a feminine energy, but it also feels a little cold. These are powerful figures, but they're isolated apart from the Empress. The High Priestess, there's solitude associated with it. The Queen of Swords, she's also solo, like she rides solo. Yes, there's a King of Swords and stuff, but there's a slightly cold feel, right? That's why I was saying it feels like it's a desire of over independence. And then you have the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is also somebody who takes all the responsibility onto themselves. They're handling all of the burden, right? And then you guys doing that, though it's great to be independent and you can get a lot of things that you want, at the end of the day, you're not letting people, like, it's good to let people help you. It's good to have some people that you can rely on every once in a while. They're not a need, right? But being overly independent is also not good, right? It's like you're going from, if you were codependent before, now you're becoming overly independent. You're going from one extreme to the other. You know what I mean? And what it leaves you is a sensation of feeling alone or burdened, like you have so much responsibility on your shoulders. So I feel like there is a little bit of a focus of you guys are in February managing a lot of things, doing a lot of things, though you're seeing a lot of prosperity. Like I'm seeing financial gain and prosperity, like whatever it is that you guys do, especially if you guys are like self-employed or you work as a private contractor or something, or you have like a little side thing, like I'm seeing for those of you guys that do that, you can be getting kind of a bit more money, you know. But again, and it feels like you're good at managing the things and it comes through and you feel in alignment with yourself. But it just seems like there's a part that feels slightly like it's missing. And I think that's the companionship, right? So it feels like there needs to be a little bit of a balance, you know, but that's how it's looking so far for the material world focus in February. It's more so about kind of like getting your life back on track from whatever it is that you took a break from, and things are coming into fruition. There's a lot of insight. You guys are really introspective, and I feel like you're going to gain a lot of insight into yourself even more. Your decision making is going to become even better. I don't feel like you guys have actually too much to worry about. Like, even if you don't feel like you're decisive, I feel like you're just going to be going with, like, I'm picking this because I don't have the patience anymore to stand in the cereal aisle, like what I was mentioning earlier, right? But because of that, I just feel like it's so easy to take on too much responsibility because you guys are capable. And, you know, with all that fiery energy we got before, now it's a lot more cooler energy, and I feel like you're being just be cautious that you're not being too hard on yourself. You're not putting too much on your plate. You can handle a lot, but it's important to be able to take a break and, like, you know, give yourself a day off every once in a while. It's important to take care of yourself in that way. And it's okay to be open to other people coming into your life. Even if it's friends, just be open to people kind of spending time with you. Because I am seeing a lot of self-reflection, and there seems to be a lot more isolation because you guys are kind of accomplishing a goal, something that you want to do, which is good, but it becomes difficult, you know, so it's okay to lean on people for support, just so you don't feel alone while you're going through this, okay? And then what Divine wants you to focus on healing. Give me 1 second. Let me see what we've got here. Okay. I feel like you guys have gotten pretty good at not allowing your emotions to dictate how you take action and how you respond to things. That being said, it's like on the verge of, just because you're not responding with anger doesn't mean you're not angry. So just make sure that you don't repress yourself. I feel like it's also like the healing comes in with finding the balance between your feminine and masculine energy, the balance between your drive, the balance between your independence and how much freedom you have. Because I'm not saying you should sacrifice your freedom, but I think there's this belief that if you do have somebody with you, you're now going to be sacrificing freedom, you know, and that's not necessarily the case. Okay, people, you can find somebody else who also values freedom, but somebody that you would actually enjoy spending quality time with. It won't feel like a sacrifice. You know what I mean? I think you guys are going about it, and it may even feel like it's not just friendship. I think it could be love related too. I feel like some of you guys may be going about it in the slightly wrong way, because you're thinking about it in the sense of, no, I have to find time to commit to this and all of that stuff. When it's the right person, you don't have to feel like, you won't be feeling like you're sacrificing time. And though, you know, in a relationship, you do need to be giving some time. Otherwise, it's not really a relationship, right? It's almost like there's a bit of advice here to to realize that it's not as much as you may necessarily think. Like, say, for example, you're only used to dating one type of a person, or you're used to your culture, and so you only date people within your culture. People within your culture will usually share similar beliefs to what you're having, where you have to dedicate the time, this and that. But if you branch out and you try something different, you may actually find somebody who's more open-minded about that, who's more like, no, I'm totally okay with you doing your thing, and whenever you need me, I'm here to support you. It's just, it would be nice to see you once every couple of weeks, or maybe a little bit more often if possible. But I can totally wait while you figure this out. You know, like there are people like that. So it's almost like, don't don't lose yourself in the thoughts of how independent you should be or want to be, because what you're really doing in that independence, because yeah, it's nice to have your freedom, it's nice to have independence, but you're also isolating yourself, you know? So how much of this is just freedom to be and do and enjoy, and how much of this is possibly self-protection by isolating yourself and masking it as the desire for complete freedom? You know, for some of you guys, it genuinely is the desire for freedom. But for some of you guys, I feel like there is the desire for freedom, but there's also a bit of self-protection by being overly independent, because you're doing it in the sense to not have to rely on anyone, because you don't want to be let down or to wait for somebody in order to get something done, you know. But it usually means that it's because you've experienced or you feel like there's somebody that you can't rely on. So it's almost like opening yourself up to the possibility that there are people that you can rely on, because you can't deny the fact that that you want somebody to spend time with sometimes, you know? And it's not about just finding somebody that's nice. It's not about settling. They call it settling down, but it's not. It's not about settling, right? Just that term alone already sets the demeanor of what kind of a relationship it will be. It's not about settling down. It's about finding somebody that is not only like a best friend, but that you want to share your life with, and that accepts you exactly as you are. In those moments when you need to be on your own, and then in those moments when you're having stress and you need support, right? And obviously you would do similar things for them for whatever it is that they need. But I'm just saying, I feel like you guys have kind of accepted like an image of something that's not necessarily true. Okay. And then because you also have the Knight of Swords and the Emperor in your healing section, these are masculine cards. Right. So again, I feel like you're healing two things. You're healing your relationship because I feel like you guys are actually you started out as a more divine feminine energy. And through life experiences, you guys have become a little harder, more direct, and you've started being more in your masculine energy. And I feel like you guys don't have the right, like some of you guys don't have the best example of a healthy masculine energy. And I'm feeling that for some of you guys, it could be because of your mother may have exuded a certain unhealthy feminine or masculine energy, or your father, or both, or it could be from exes too. Like it feels like a variety. Sometimes it comes through really strongly. Oh, it's a mother figure for the majority of the group. But in this group, it feels like it's a variety of people. So it could be anybody. I just feel like it's somebody that has been present in your life for a certain amount of time, not just like a day or two. And I feel like this with the King of Swords, this isn't the King, this is the Knight. The Knight of Swords, it's like this person is also like quick. They're quick-witted. They're quick with communication. You guys are extremely intellectual. You're extremely intelligent. And I want you to notice that anytime you might step into a relationship, are you being really open with this person, or are you over-analyzing them? Are you being quick to judge? Are you setting a boundary, or are you giving them a warning? And what I mean by that is, like, it's important to set our boundaries, right? To say, hey, just so you know, this is stuff that makes me feel uncomfortable. So when this happens, if you see me respond this way, that's why. It's nothing personal. That's like setting a boundary. That's letting people know, you know, I would appreciate if you don't do this because it triggers me and it's something that I'm working through, but just a heads up, right? That's like setting a boundary. But being defensive or over analytical is like, why would you do something like that? Or don't do, it's like the way you say it, you know, don't ever lie to me because if you do, I'll know. And then I'll never let you into my life. You know, that's not setting a boundary. That's just like, you could say, hey, even if you feel like you need to protect me sometimes by telling a little white lie, like, I just want you to know I appreciate honesty. And I've had negative experiences with that. So I'd rather just hear the truth. You know, saying it like that and then saying, if you ever lie, like the other way that I said it, it's like you're saying two different things. One is asserting a boundary. The other one is making an insecurity known in a harsh way and already almost like having anger at somebody or irritation with somebody or the assumption that somebody could be doing this. It's like one is like holding the space open. The other one is holding a knife to the throat and saying, hey, don't do this or else, you know? So it feels like you guys need to have a little bit more of a, like for some of you, try to see how your approach is, because some of you I think may think, oh, I'm not that harsh. And maybe you're not as extreme as the knife example, you know. Oh, please don't hold a knife to anyone's throat. But I think there may be times where even in your head, you're having that judgment of other people. And it holds you back from being open. So try to be more open-minded with the people that you allow into your life. Try to go past your normal community, right? Because you're going to get similar results if you keep looking in the same places. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like reach out, try to expand. And also, I just want to see if I get anything else before I move on. I feel like you're already living kind of authentically and you're doing your best to be doing that. So now it's talking about not just living authentically, but living authentically and vulnerably. Live with like allow your emotions to show, you know? Allow yourself to be more of an open book with people, to get an idea of how they'll react to you. You're strong enough to be able to handle, you know, like you've grown past a lot of your insecurities and you've worked on them. You have the logical understanding of how to approach those things, right? So like, it's time for you to kind of open up, you guys, and be a little bit more emotionally vulnerable and authentic with people in your life, okay? And that is going to bring you good things too, because it's going to cut out the people that you feel aren't listening to you or aren't aligning themselves with you, and it's going to help you feel like you have even closer relationships, because these people, they've kind of seen it all and they accept it and they love it, okay? All right, I think that's like the main messages we're getting here, and let's get into... And by the way, I feel like when you guys do that, you're going to be attracting somebody romantically too, okay? That's going to be not just making you feel satisfied or like you're settling, but actually going to be feeling like it's a fulfilling person for you, okay? So let's take a look at your final messages. We've got the 6th house. Okay, sorry for the cut, you guys. We have the 6th house, the first quarter moon, Venus. Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about love, right? And romance and stuff, and talking about opening up. And we have the full moon, Virgo, which is also interesting, right? Because we have the 6th house, which is Virgo. We have narcissism and analyze. Oh my goodness, this goes so perfect with the other portion of the reading with analyze, right? Where it's like you guys are very intellectual and all this stuff, but how much of this is like you isolating yourself and being overly critical? Like you may think that you're just trying to figure somebody out, but how you figure somebody out can be through kind conversation, not through over analysis where it feels cold, you know, and like as if it's clinical, you know what I mean? And then with narcissism, to me, what that's saying is like that isolation that you guys have been going through. It's not in a dark or bad way. It's how we interpret cards, right? So it just feels like that isolation that you're experiencing, and like the cold, slightly cold and rational way that you're approaching these situations is keeping you on your own. It's almost like you may not even realize you're using that way of thinking as a form of protection from you actually getting into a real authentic relationship. Because getting into a real authentic relationship with somebody who accepts you emotionally and then something ending or being betrayed by that can actually hurt you guys a lot more than being with somebody who you're used to. And then with the fact that you guys have Virgo twice coming up, right? The 6th house and Virgo, this just feels like it's like healing and self-improvement. And with the first quarter moon, it's like taking new opportunities, taking chances. And the full moon is fruition. And Venus is love. right? It's self-love and it's romantic love. And I feel like it's time for you guys to start exploring romance in a different way. The other groups weren't as romantic. There wasn't so much emphasis on love. But I feel like for you guys, part of your healing is healing in romantic relationships. You guys need to be shown somebody that is stable, emotionally, mentally, physically, you know, because I feel like there's some level of betrayal, and like I'm hearing sirens now too. And it like stunted you guys a little bit. Okay, give me 1 second. I just need a sip of water. Okay, so it's time for you guys to be open to love. Now let's get the final message with the dice. We have 8, 7, Jupiter, and Sagittarius. Interesting. Every group I think so far has gotten Jupiter. Just 1 second. Okay. Jupiter and Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. They talk about expansion, knowledge, right? And then you have 8 and 7. This is following a path. And this is like ascension, right? Because you go from one to the next level. You're moving forward a step. And as we talked about, Sagittarius and Jupiter is expansion. It could also be rapid growth. So I feel like you guys are evolving. You guys have done a lot of work on yourselves, and you're moving past things that no longer serve you. So you're moving into the next step. So you guys are actually doing really well for yourself, okay? So I hope you didn't take anything of what I said critically, because it wasn't meant to be critical. It was just meant to help you guys see how far you've come in regards to like independence and stuff and self-analysis, and to show you guys do think really well. So trust yourselves to make the right decision in love, okay? You're not going to get walked all over. You're not going to allow yourself to get walked all over or be betrayed again. You're not going to choose the wrong person again. Trust yourselves to be able to make the right choice so that you can actually have a happy relationship, not something that just feels safe enough that you're settling, okay? All right, group 3, that was your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light. If you guys like this reading, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Did this resonate with you? Is this something that you have already started doing, right? Or is this something that you didn't realize you needed to do with the opening up and how you analyze things and stuff, and how you hold the expectation for, or where basically this independence is coming from, and how you assess people. Also, I'd appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel, as I've got lots of fun things planned for you. And if you guys are interested in a private reading or a custom crystal bracelet, wow, I should really start doing like, because sometimes I say personal private reading, that's like a triple P, right? Oh no, personal private, no, that's like a double P. And then I say custom crystal, and those are also, that's like a double C. So double P or a double C, that sounds wrong. Okay, anyway, if you guys are interested in any of those, you can reach out to me either through my contacts page on my website or through my email. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Lunar New Year, group number 3. I know it's already a couple days past it, but still. And I love you guys. Bye. Hey, group 4, this is your group if you chose this mystery card, which I will reveal in a moment. I just finished shuffling your cards, and before we get into anything, I just want to ring the singing bowl for you guys. Ding. Okay. Me saying it was unnecessary, but also I feel like I'm going to have to be like, you guys are the only group that I will be showing the backs of the decks for, which I'll explain when I do it, but I feel like it has to pertain to something, which I want to see how the reading goes first, what the cards look like in the reading first before I dive into the backs of the cards, because I feel like you guys may have a dual message, but we'll see. We shall see. Also, for those of you who are unfamiliar with my healing focus readings, it's kind of like 5 sections, right? Or 5 sections. The last section is going to be final messages / advice. The first 2, I'll explain the 3rd and 4th one once we get to them, but the first 2, it's going to be, the top will be where are you currently at, which will also be a good energy check to see if this is the reading for you. And then the bottom will be what you have the opportunity to leave behind in the month of January. And then we have, freedom. Look at that. Number 21. The energy of freedom supports our sense of limitless possibility and potential, boundless expression, and bold exploration. Wow. It's funny because this is like the last 3 readings in one card and more. I think that's interesting. And we'll touch on this a little more as the reading progresses. But first, let's see the cards that we've got. We've got the 9 of Wands, the 9 of Cups. Interesting. The Strength card. And the Hermit. Wow, you guys have a lot of 9s. Strength is an 8, but the Hermit is a 9. So you have 3 9s of the 4 cards, which is interesting because 9 is getting close to, in numerology, 10 isn't really a thing because it just simplifies to 1. So 9 can be an ending. Well, I mean, okay, it depends on maybe the type of numerology system that you go by, but I feel unless you're adding the 10 to a 1 before you simplify, which will become an 11, but just a 10 on its own is usually not a thing. So I feel like you guys have, with all these 9s, it's like talking about the completion of a cycle, and it's also talking a lot about independence. I also feel like you guys have a lot of wisdom about you. Like you have a lot of wisdom, and you've had to go through a lot of your life kind of dealing with certain things on your own. Like I feel whether it was through experience or, well, yeah, it's definitely kind of through experience, whether you had to deal with things on your own or just the stuff that you've experienced, but you guys have acquired a lot of wisdom. And I feel like a lot of you guys are in a place of gratitude right now. And even though you're so used to being on your own, like it feels like it's like you are used to being on your own in a setting where you need people, and then you're used to relying on people in a setting where it should be you trying to do something independently. You know, so I feel like you guys have been working on healing that and switching those things around. And you guys are kind of standing out from the group now, and you're going for the things that you want. You have more gratitude in your life. You guys have stepped into, because you were always wise, but I feel like you guys were, for lack of a better term, playing small or holding back in regards to actually applying some of this guidance or wisdom or information to yourself. You're great at helping other people, but you didn't apply any of that to you. You know, I think you considered yourself an exception. You didn't really look at yourself in the best light, but I feel like you guys are moving past that now. And you're starting to actually go and apply these things, you know, and applause for you, because it takes courage and a certain level of faith and strength in order to go about doing those things. And you guys have started going about doing those things, and you're in a place of gratitude in your life, which is also an incredibly beautiful thing. Okay, so the freedom that they're really talking about here is inner freedom. And once you're free inside, you'll start seeing it reflect into your outside world with being able to get your own place if you don't have one, and all of this other stuff. Okay, you guys are completing your freedom on the inside first. Then we have the 9 of Wands. Oh, I'm sorry, the Page of Wands. The King of Swords. Let me give you a close-up because it's hard to see with the shine in this lighting. I don't know if you guys saw this one enough. This one had warmer colors, so I feel like it's easier to see this card. But this guy's got a lot more cooler tones. Even the red has a slightly cooler tone, so it's hard to see him. We have the 2 of Pentacles and the World. Okay. So I feel like, again, like I was saying, you guys have gone through a lot of things on your own. Like you've been doing a lot of things on your own. Like introspective for a long part of your life, and even like relationship wise, I don't feel like you guys have been in very many connections and relationships, if any at all. So I feel like some of you guys may have only been in like one connection, or like some of you guys may have been in like 2 or 3, but they were more long-term, or I don't know. It doesn't feel like you guys have had many partners. It also feels like as you were doing the whole thing with like gaining that independence and stuff and your whole isolation, it's almost like realizing that you have, sorry for the cough, you guys, I was sick. It's gotten better than what it was last week, but because I've been talking for so long, it's still very much present. But yeah, so I feel like with you guys, you came to terms and realized that, you know, you have a spiritual team, or like guides, or like God or divine with you. The universe is with you. So it's coming to the fact that you're not actually alone while you were being alone. And that was a realization. That's kind of another form of freedom, right? Because loneliness can also be a cage that we live in. It becomes a fundamental belief. And in that regard, it becomes a cage, because that becomes the reality that we choose to exist in, consciously or unconsciously. Especially if it's a fundamental belief, it tends to become unconscious, right? So I feel like you guys freed yourself from the cage by coming to terms and realizing that you're not abandoned, you're not alone. You actually have guides with you, you have friends with you, like you have got, there's beings with you, you know, you're not actually handling things completely on your own. Okay, and then what you guys have the opportunity to leave behind in January. I think it's really more so you guys coming, it feels like you guys are coming out of passing through, or getting close to coming out of this healing stage, right? Where you have actually been a little bit more isolated and on your own. And I think it's time for you guys to come out into the world and to be more open to people. And I think before you needed to be a little bit more reserved with yourself, or you maybe in like years ago, you could have been scared to be that way, right? Because you thought like, oh, the relationship could negate my progress. But I feel like you guys have come through with so much actual internal progress, right? That it's time for you guys. I feel like I had a reading like this last week, like it was one of the mystery messages, I don't remember, but it's like, it's time for you guys to come out of that shell. It's time for you to realize that like you have grown, you have become more strong in this, right? And you're not going to be shaken by including somebody else in your life. At first, it may feel like the things that you were working so hard to create balance in feel slightly out of balance. That's just because you're trying something new, but really quickly after, you'll be able to figure it out. Okay, so it's more so leaving behind the idea that getting into a relationship with somebody, or allowing other people into your life now that you've focused so much on this healing and coming into your own, that it's going to be taking away from the stuff, what you've already grown and what you've progressed in. You know, like you're sacrificing. And honestly, it doesn't feel like too much of a sacrifice. It feels more like you went from having the scale tipped on one end to bringing it into a bit of a balance. You know, this is kind of similar to like, that's what I'm saying. You guys have a little bit of parallels with, I think, because with this card, I saw parallels with all of the 3 other groups. Not to the severe extent that they had those individual messages, but I feel like it's kind of like you guys have a little bit of a touch of each in a sense. But yeah, but that's why I feel like you guys are probably also the group that has done the most healing. I think that's also why you guys have the touch of it all. Like you guys feel like the most emotionally vulnerable group in the most beautiful way. Not in the fact that like you're going to get hurt, but in the fact that like that vulnerability is your soul shining through. Like I can see that holistic, it feels holistic to me, like that soul energy coming through. I just feel it from you guys. It feels so pure. It's so beautiful, you know, and that only comes from being able to come back to yourself and doing the healing and releasing those layers of emotions that could have been acting as a barrier and holding you guys back. So now it's time to actually get yourself into a place where you're getting people to come into your life, welcoming people into your life. You can handle it. I'm not saying welcome 20 people into your life, but, you know, one at a time. You can actually even do 2 or 3. You'd be okay with that. But you just have to, I feel like it's more of a mental thing, you know, and you're in a place where at first you may get a tiny bit of resistance, but you can go through the resistance. Like I can see you guys pushing through the resistance. Okay. So it's time for you guys to come out into the world and welcome people back in, and know that it's not going to mess up your progress. Okay, guys? All right. So normally I would just put the cards away right away, but since I want to talk about the bottoms of the decks with you guys, I'm going to set these to the side. Grab the rest of the cards. 1, 2. Okay. So the next section is going to be, what is your material world focus in February? And then what does Divine want you to focus on healing in February? We've got the Wheel of Fortune. Justice. Interesting. We were talking about that balance, right? The 5 of Wands. Oh, the 5 of Wands again. The King of Pentacles. Oh, there's an extra card. Okay, so let's shift it on down. The Page of Pentacles. The Page of Cups. The 7 of Cups. The Master of Secrets. Dreamer of Swords, which is the so the Master of Secrets is the Magician. The Dreamer of Swords, I think that's the Page. It's either the Page or the Knight. I think it's the Page. I think it's the Page, yeah. The 4 of Coins. The 9 of Swords. And the King of Swords. Interesting. You guys have a lot of sword stuff down here. And we'll get into these after. Okay, let me take a sip of water, and I'm going to take a moment to see what I see. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, I feel like in February, you guys are still working on stability. I feel like that's the thing that you guys keep trying to find, is stability and balance. I feel like you guys are constantly reaching for having balance in your life, and that's what sparked you guys to continue to work on yourself and all of that stuff. There seems like there's an extra emphasis on balance. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys had some Libra placements in your chart, or 7th house placements, but it feels more like Libra placements than actual 7th house placements, to be honest with you. I also feel as though in February, you guys are going to be, I feel like you guys are going to be striving for something. I think you guys are recovering perfectionists. And what I mean by that is I feel like you guys used to be extreme perfectionists, to the point where it was not only ultra self, sorry, you guys were, oh my goodness, possibly ultra self-critical. And like the things that you did, you considered none of them, hardly any of them were good enough. And if you received 5 compliments and one constructive criticism comment, you guys would take that comment, and that's the only thing you would take. You wouldn't take the compliment, and you would take that comment and you would try to improve and better yourself. And I feel, so that's what I mean. I feel like you guys are like recovering perfectionists. And though you have moved past that, right? Because now you're able to actually put work out, put stuff out, now that you're not waiting for it to be perfect. I feel like there is still a part of you that is constantly striving to grow, right? And you project that into certain parts of your life. So you project that into your like, you've really been projecting that a lot into your personal growth. So you're still working on improving yourself and bettering yourself. And what was the stuff I told you guys about? Things. I'm just looking at the other cards because I completely forgot what I told you in the beginning of the reading and what you have the opportunity to leave behind. Oh, that you can welcome people in your life. Yeah, because I was going to say, this is touching on that too, and I wasn't sure if I mentioned that earlier. It's almost like you guys are like, okay, yeah, I'm allowing myself to be more open to let people in, since I've already been feeling that, and Milka just said it in this reading, like, hey, be open. You're taking it on as like the next task to improve yourself, which is good. But I feel like you guys are still like, okay, but what else can I keep healing in the process, you know, and all this stuff. So I feel like there is a little bit of advice here, because that's what it seems like the focus is on here. Like, you guys are still working on trying to improve yourself. And I'm not saying stop, but I feel like, just like I gave you that recognition, and you guys have gotten better at giving yourself recognition, it's okay to take pauses, right? And just focus on things that bring you joy, as opposed to just focusing on how you can continue bettering yourself. I also feel like in February, yeah, there seems to be like more freedom coming through. Like, I feel like, again, I'm seeing the vulnerability with the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Cups, especially in this deck. It feels like this person is like physically showing up as authentic as they can in like neutrals. This is just, I'm feeling calm today, I'm dressing calm. And then with this Page of Cups, it's like they're also appearing with an open heart, you know? So I feel like you guys in February are just, you're more open. There's a vulnerability about you. Some people may think that you're being calm. Some people, very few people may mistake it for sadness. It's not sadness. They're just seeing you in a calm state because of the vulnerability, you know? I feel like you guys are going to have a beautiful glow around you in February, like a halo. And there's just this energy of somebody who nurtures themselves, and people are going to really love and appreciate that. Like, they're going to expect to, like, they want to have you in their life. They want to keep you in their life, people who encounter you, right? And it's like, it's not like, it's all of that hard work that you have put in, it's showing. That being said, it doesn't mean that you need to keep working so hard in order to become the ultimate halo having human, you know, like, or infinite soul in a human body, whatever. You know, it's like, you don't have to, there is no ultimate, there is no end of the ladder when it comes to this kind of a self-growth. So you don't have to keep striving to reach the end of the ladder. You know what I mean? You can slow down and stop your pace. Like, seriously slow down your pace and then speed it back up again, because there is no end to the ladder. It's like if you're seeking constant improvement, you're going to be seeking that for the rest of your life, you know? So it's just kind of like we want you to relish the fact that you've gotten to this point, and you don't have to worry. You don't have to think about making yourself better in the perception of others too, because people are going to be recognizing you, and there may be a part of you that's like, oh, now I want to, you know, it's kind of like when if somebody starts losing weight for themselves, for their health, and then they start getting recognition from other people, and maybe they may start being swayed in their intention or their motivation, and now they feel like a pressure, like they want to keep up with what people are now saying or seeing about them, you know? And so it puts more pressure on them, and now the weight loss goes from being about them wanting to do for themselves to meeting those people's expectations. So I feel like it's kind of a bit of a heads up or warning, you know, like, you've come far. People are already going to see the halo. You don't have to do the things to continue to you don't have to do things to make yourself have halo, you know, do it because it feels good. Connect with your guides and your team because it makes you feel in alignment. Don't do extra spiritual work so that your halo feels stronger so that people can feel like even stronger. You know what I mean? It's not about the others. It's just about you and realizing the fact that growth is a forever thing. So you don't have to worry about growing rapidly, constantly. Be like, yes, grow. It's good. It's important. But be okay and enjoy just being where you're at now too. You know? Continue to grow. Like, I'm not telling you to stop, but just find the place where you can enjoy being where you're at too. Okay, because February is going to be lit for you guys, okay, in regards to that. And then in regards to what Divine wants you to focus on healing in the month of February. One moment. I think you guys may have suppressed a couple of emotions or dreams in the past because of you starting your spiritual journey or growth or self-improvement. You've now shifted the things that you want in your life to things that you feel you should want. And I feel like Divine wants you to come back to the things that you originally wanted. They were wants for a reason. It was a goal, a desire for a reason. You know, you don't have to shift your goal or desire to fit the more spiritual life that you've now gotten to. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be so black and white. You can incorporate the spiritual part or the growth in the thing that you originally wanted. It's almost like now, as you've been coming back to yourself, right? Come back to those things that you've always wanted. And yes, there's lots of options for you, but that's okay. You can do it one step at a time. You don't have to limit yourself. Like, I feel like even with this, right, with the magician, it makes me feel like you guys were you almost like allowed this healing journey to influence the things that you want to do, because it was another form of being able to narrow down what you want to do, because maybe you had too many options before, it was too hectic to go to the other thing, and then you came up with excuses for the other thing. Well, now it's time to revisit those dreams, those wishes, those desires, and realize you can have them all. It's just about taking the steps. It's about you nourishing yourself. And with this Four of Coins, I feel like it's Divine saying, we love you, we're taking care of you, you're protected, you're okay. Revisit the things that you want. We want you to get the thing. We want you to have the things that you want. We want you to have your dreams come true. So don't worry about how it's spiritual to be this particular thing. There's gonna, like, say for example, somebody wants to be a surgeon, right? And they're like, oh, but that's not a spiritual thing. That's a blah, 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 whatever. It's like, you don't have to worry about being spiritual to be a surgeon. Or if somebody wants to be in like the music industry or like an actor, but they're like, but that's not me serving spiritual purpose or something. Same thing. It's like, you don't have to see how, just because you don't understand or know exactly how you can incorporate spirituality into that just yet, doesn't mean you shouldn't be going for your dream. You're going to be helping the world the most when you follow your joy. So you've been coming into your true authentic self so that you don't lose yourself in the state of finding this dream. But it's like, it's time to revisit Divine. And I know this is meant to be like what you're meant to be healing, but I feel like it is healing for you. It's healing for you because you guys are revisiting your wants and desires from the past and really assessing the fact that you still want those things. Because I feel like you guys, even with this Nine of Swords, you see how she's like, it's like almost like an oracle or something ascending, and this family is crying. And it's like, you have suppressed this part of you, like this is that desire, that part of you, that want. You guys have suppressed it for some time, and you've been okay with that because I think you've allowed yourself to believe that you're okay with moving on. But certain things will come up that'll trigger that desire, that'll trigger your heart, as if like, oh, I want this, I feel this, it just resonates so strongly with me. And I feel like it has caused you guys to even cry. Like, notice when you do something, or if you're witnessing something and then you feel a sensation in your heart and you want to cry, pay attention to that. Are you wanting that because you feel like you're finding your freedom in that thing? Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, okay? Because I'm also working on, I've gotten so much better at following my own advice, especially in the last like year and a half and stuff. So I'm going to be completely honest with you, okay? For me, that thing is music, right? You guys hear little snippets of me singing here and there. It's not really me singing. Like, it's not like my actual singing, you know? But for me, like music, and especially sometimes when I hear opera, and just how open it is, I feel like in my heart, like this sensation, it's like a longing, an expression, a freedom, like an openness in my heart, and just this desire. And I start crying, especially if I haven't sang in a while. I'll just start crying listening to it, because it's like the freedom that my heart wants. And I always would say, without really thinking, like, oh, music is the expression, like the singing is the expression of my soul. It is my soul talking, you know? And for a long time, when I was younger, I was really afraid of the concept of it, right? I was afraid of rejection. Then I got to the point where I got into spirituality, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on this. Like, and I got into it like a self-love journey. It was like 8 years ago now, maybe 9. And I think it was 8, maybe 9. I don't know. Maybe 8, maybe, I don't know. I don't know why I'm still stuck on that. Wait, hold on. Now it's going to bother me. What is it? It was 2013, now we're in 2020. Oh my goodness. It was 10 years ago. Holy cow. I can't believe it. Wow. I can't believe it's been 10 years. But yeah, like I started this like self-love. Wow, I'm even tearing up like talking about it, I think. But I started this self-love journey, and I got into spirituality. And at the time I was like a drama major in high school, and I really thought that I wanted to be when I was a kid, I always wanted to be, I had an order. It was a musician, and then an actor, and a dancer. And then I got a little bit of the rejection stuff with the music, and so I dived into acting, and I really enjoyed it. And so I thought that this is what I wanted to do. And my mom would be like, this is not what you want to do. And I was like, no, you have no idea. You know, I was just resisting her. She's like, no, this is not what you want to do. You are supposed to be a singer, you know? And I was like, you don't know, Mom, you don't know. I was like, I'm a great actor. And and then when I started that self-love journey, right, it was my senior year in high school, and I was so driven with the acting thing. I was like looking for conservatory universities for acting, and I realized like once I started my self-love journey, I just lost the passion. I mean, I enjoyed it when I was performing, but like everything else in between, like I had lost a lot of the passion, and I was so confused and so conflicted because I was already set on this being the career that I was pursuing. And I realized that acting, I was doing that to hide, right? I was doing that to play pretend, because it was hard for me to be, when I was younger, in certain situations in my life and certain experiences. And so I would act as a form of escape. And it was fun and it was playful. But I did that, and as a form of expression of my emotions, because I was also really repressed emotionally, internally. And then music was my soul coming out. Music was me. It was my expression. When I sang, it was me. And I was so scared. I was so scared of that being rejected, because that rejection would feel worse than anything. You know, and I resonate with this, because I was also like that perfectionist. I would only hear the constructive criticism as a negative comment, and no compliments at that point too. You know, and so I was so scared of the music. And so once I started really diving into like spirituality, and I was like, oh, well, the music industry is this way, and I don't want to be a part of that. And Then I started, because I felt like self-love, I was like, this is what I want people to feel too. I want to help people feel this way. And so I started narrowing it down to like, I can't do the music. At first I would pray, like I would have moments where I would really want to do the music, and I would pray like, this is what I want to do. And then I would kind of change it because I didn't feel like it was appropriate for my mission or how I can serve people. And like, I want to help people feel like they're worthy and deserving of love, you know? And so I started shifting my dream a lot. And then every once in a while I would get a reminder like, hey, you really want to do music? And I would sing, like if I didn't sing opera for a while or something, and I would hear just an aria, like I would start crying, and I would feel like my heart longing. Because I remember when I was younger, I used to hear music and I would feel, especially classical music, and I would just feel like I was a note on the page of this music, you know? And I don't know, I would get this like visual effect of, it was an experience, I don't know. And then I would have moments again where I would bring it back to spirituality, and me bringing it back to spirituality was not coming from a place of me wanting to serve. It was, but it also wasn't. Right? Because it was also coming from a place of me being afraid, of me feeling like on some level, this is still too scary. And so I was deflecting. Is that the right? I think that's the right word. Or I was like shifting the focus, shifting the gears, and I was pretending like this wasn't what I wanted anymore, or denying myself the thing that I wanted because I didn't feel like it was spiritual, because I wasn't going to be helping people in the way that I wanted to be helping people. Like with the tarot stuff, I fell into doing this professionally. Like that was God's work. I never thought I would be doing it. You know what I mean? I never really dreamed of it. Like it wasn't something on YouTube. I thought it would be fun doing pick a cards, but like doing it professionally, I never thought. Like it just kind of happened. And it was like a great blessing, you know, but I feel like I keep getting that reminder of the music. And I think it's like time, you know, like it's basically saying like, you've got to revisit those things, because it was kind of like this sensation, like this true, purest form of myself that I would suppress down out of fear of rejection and being seen and all of this stuff. And it would cause this kind of despair. But I would almost numb the despair after some time and continue on with my life. And it's like, God, the universe, they want you to follow your joy. Following your joy is following God's plan, your soul's plan, the divine plan, the universe's guidance, right? God speaks through joy. And I'm not talking about instant gratification. I'm talking about pure joy. Like doing this will bring you great joy. It's because you're meant to be doing it. You know, so I hope my sharing my story in this regard can be helpful for you guys. I'm not really sure why I started sharing it. Kind of lost track here. But it's something that I'm going to be working on actually pursuing this year. Now, I've said it on camera. I've said it. It's part of the video. It is made to the public. So now I am to be held accountable. But I feel like this is kind of, because we've got a parallel in this particular portion of the reading. And I wanted you guys to know you're not the only ones who are experiencing something like that, to give you an example of what it might look like, and to just be kind of like a friend and say, hey, it's time. Oh, hold on. There's an affirmation. I see the happiness that was to be part... whatever, it's gone. I was going to read it to you. But basically, it's like, I see the happiness that was to be part, you know, of my life, and I'm going for it, right? So go for it, you guys. You've got this, okay? It's time. It's time to do the things that you want. That's part of your healing. It's like giving your inner child the thing that they've desired and longed for so long, okay? All right. Now, I haven't forgotten that you guys have like a dual reading, because I'm going to still show you the backs of the cards, but let's get I'm going to show the backs of the cards and the final messages at the same time, okay? So give me 1 second. So we've got the Ace of Cups. Ooh, ooh. Underneath it is the Lovers. I'll take it. I'll take it. Then we have the Queen, y'all, the Queen of Cups. And guess what's underneath that? The Two of Cups. I'll take this too, because this is cute. Because this is already turning into something. Well, I'm sure you've already guessed. But then we've got the King of Cups. The King of Wands. And I guess I'm taking the doubles because I'll take this too, which is the Page of Wands underneath. Look how cute. It's a red panda. Here, I'll shift these down a little bit. Then you have the Two of Swords, followed by the Eight of Cups. And then the Nine of Cups, followed by the Five of Wands. And the King of Coins, followed by the Chariot. And underneath that, guess what, is the Queen of Cups again. Place these here. And then let me put these guys away. And then we'll get into your rest of the reading. And this way I can actually put everyone away. So it's a little easier to see what is going on. Okay. And I do want to reveal also one more card, but first let me do the reveal of these last messages. We've got the 7th house, Pisces. Interesting. You have Aquarius, the full moon, the North Node. Wow, you know what? I saw the North Node peek out because I actually shuffled the final message cards first. And I was like, this is going to be interesting. And it's funny that that reading ended up turning into the whole talk about like what it is that you want to pursue in life and all of this stuff and your purpose, right? And how you're going to be helping the world and incorporating spirituality or that self-growth. So I think it's interesting that you have the full moon and the North Node. It's like fulfillment and life's purpose, life's mission. Then we have pessimism, precision, narcissism. And what I wanted to show you was actually on the bottom, and that was Juno. Look how beautiful the colors are too. Okay, with Juno, we'll set Juno to the side here. Alrighty, you guys. So let me do the final messages first, and then we'll touch on the bottoms, okay? So with the final messages, with the 7th house, the Pisces, the Aquarius, it's like it's time for you guys to come out into the world, to socialize, to be that eclectic, unique self that you are, to be big, to be bold. And especially in the 7th house, it's like in your relationships with other people. You've been doing that so long on your own that now it's time to incorporate people, like I was mentioning earlier. And I feel like you incorporating people is the first step, and you guys, one of the few first steps, and you guys getting into alignment with that thing that you really want to do, right? It's like you taking the steps, you getting okay with that possibility of rejection, you know, with the full moon and the North Node. It's really like, it's time. You guys are already in the process of aligning with your purpose and aligning with your mission. Okay, and your purpose and mission isn't just one thing. It's the duration of your life. You experience it, you know? But I feel like with that ultimate goal that you guys have, you guys are aligning with it. It's your time. With the pessimism, the precision, and the narcissism, I feel like this is those insecurities from the past. Now, even with the narcissism, this kind of feels like the way that you isolated yourself, where you felt like you weren't good enough or something, you know? And it ties in with that pessimism. And, or something about you wasn't enough for this thing that you wanted. And so you found ways to go around doing it, right? Like how I was saying, how I was hiding, right? Because I was worried about that rejection, but then I was saying, but I would hide that feeling or suppress that feeling and say it's because it wasn't spiritual enough or something. And I can't help people through it, right? So I feel like it's like tying into that. It's almost like that self-talk and overcoming that self-talk. Your mission, your purpose, your goal, dream, and desire is so much greater than those insecurities. And I think it's interesting how we've got these beautiful vibrant colors here, and then there's blue and teal and purple and this pinkish red, but then over here you've got a lot of the blue and the green, right? The blue and the green, that's the throat chakra, that's the heart chakra. It's the expression of your truest desires, no longer the expression of your insecurities and fears, but allow it to be the expression of your truest desires. Okay, you get to direct and change what you're expressing, what you're living. Okay, and then we even have the third house here, which is also all about expression. So it's in communication, right? It's ruled by Mercury. It's Gemini house. So it's time for you guys to get excited. Feel that fear, that anticipation, right? It's that slight fear and anticipation and excitement in your belly of actually getting the thing that you really, 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 really want. Not just the thing that you really want, but I'm talking about the thing that you're like, can I actually have it? Can that actually be my life? Can that actually be my reality? And it feels a little scary and nerve-wracking, you know? It's time, you guys. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you, and it's going to be great. Okay? Now, let's get into this little portion, because I feel like this part is a little bit of a love reading. And you guys are the only ones that got this, so feel special. I feel like as you guys are going to be pursuing this path, you guys are going to be encountering a couple of people. I think you guys are going to have options, specifically two. There is a possibility that one of those options is not really, you're not really considering them, but the universe is saying they're an option, okay? I feel like there's the ultimate person, and then there's the other option, and like you guys get to choose whoever you want. I feel like there's also like a little bit of a hint of like, again, with this wish fulfillment comes after you. Like, you have to keep overcoming your ego. I know there's romantic stuff involved, but I just wanted to touch on this. The fact that the 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment, and then you've got the 5 of Wands underneath, and like the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Swords. You guys had the 5 of Wands 2 times earlier too. These are kind of slightly ego-related cards, you know, for me, how I perceive them personally. They're more ego-based. And I just feel like your dream, your wish fulfillment comes when you move past this ego desire. It's not that your ego is going to be gone. It's not that you're not going to have this fear. It's not that you're going to not have any insecurities, or that you're still not going to feel like your stuff is not ready or whatever. You're still going to have those feelings. The most important thing, though, is that you actually keep moving past them, right? And that's what you guys have been doing all this time. You've been training to move past them. And it's the same thing in regards to love. It's the same thing as I was saying in the beginning, where it's like you're allowed to, you can welcome people into your life. It's not going to negate your progress. It's not going to completely throw off your balance in your inner world and all the stuff that you've built for yourself internally. Okay? Welcoming people in is not going to knock you down. Okay, because it's time to welcome people in. And as I'm doing that, as I interpret the messages, I'm gonna start putting some of the cards away to make room. Okay, guys. I also feel as though like the 2 of Swords and the 8 of Cups, this is like the indecision of knowing when somebody should be walking away and when they shouldn't. And I feel like before you guys walked away when it was not necessary for you to walk away, you got used to walking away. And so I think on some level, there's still a fear that when it comes to an actual intimate relationship, you would leave out of a discomfort. And this is kind of similar to another group, but it's kind of like, trust yourself, trust the progress that you've made, trust yourself to know that you're capable of accomplishing this. The fact that we have Juno here, which I'm going to put Juno away, I think, as well. But the fact that we have Juno here is just telling me this is about like that life partner, that like a romantic partner, possibly a marriage partner, right? So, and look how I love this ombre, like how it's so beautiful. You know, so it is about a potential partner. Like, it's time to open up your life to the things that you were most afraid of, your passion, your desire, and to this other person, to another person. Okay, like, you're ready. You know, you're not going to be shaken by people by following your desire, and you're not going to be shaken by people by allowing this person into your life, because we've got the King of Coins here, the King of Pentacles, and the Chariot. It's like, this person, there is somebody coming. For those of you who have given up hope, there is somebody coming, but you just got to be pursuing your path first. You've got to be pursuing your path. You've got to be bold and start going out there and getting to the things that you want. This person is going to be on some level of success, you know? They're going to have a level of success and prosperity and monetary abundance, okay? And I feel like financial prosperity and abundance, like, for realsies. Like, I feel like, I'm not saying they're billionaires, but I feel like this person's got a lot of incredible stability in their life, in career, and monetarily. And I'm not saying you guys have to be on that perfect level, but I feel like you guys are going to meet them when you're on the journey to get to that place, okay? I also feel as though, because remember I was saying you guys are going to be so, like, there's a sense of vulnerability that's coming through. And because of that, you guys are actually bringing yourselves to bring in somebody. You know, you're allowing yourselves to be that beacon, that light for others, but this is also going to be the light as you continue to grow and do all this stuff for yourself, as you continue to just love yourself and nurture yourself, right? This and be open. This is going to be the light of the lighthouse, you know, shining for others to see, not because it's about the others, but just people will see it. And that's also going to be the light that brings the ship of this person into you, or these people. Okay, I feel like it's a couple of people for you guys. You guys get to choose. And then let me see what else I've got here. Yeah, I feel like it's time for, because there's so much cups and the lovers. This is so sweet. And then you've got a lot of the wands here. I feel like it's time for this next, like, you've got a beautiful next phase coming in this year, it feels like. But don't focus hyperly on this relationship and be like, it's supposed to be happening this year, sometime this year. It's not about this person or these people in the relationship. It's about the fact that you're continuing following your purpose and your mission, and you're keeping yourself open. And you guys are going to come across these couple of people on that journey. Okay? Let me see if there's anything else. I guess I'll roll the dice now too. Ooh, I caught it. It was about to fall. It just landed in my, it like flew. I don't know if you guys saw that on camera, but it flew and landed in my hand. So we've got 18, which is the moon. 1, which is magician, the sun, and Cancer. So the fact that you have the moon and the magician and the sun and Cancer, you have the moon and the sun. You know, I feel like the moon is also talking about those deep wants and desires, because it's hidden things, right? It's those deep wants and desires. And with the one, it's like the first house too. And with the sun, it's the light. So it's like bringing those things to the surface and actually nurturing yourself by going for the thing that you want, by allowing yourself to have that thing that you secretly have always wanted and desired. Okay? All right, group 4, that's it for your reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sending you guys lots of love and light. If you guys like this reading, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. Also, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Did it resonate? I know I shared quite a bit in regards to my personal story there, but is it similar for you? Do you guys feel like it's similar? You know, that was the reason I was sharing, because for those of you that felt like it, you can relate. But yeah, I would also appreciate if you guys subscribe to this channel, as I've got lots of fun stuff planned, and I would appreciate your support in that regard as well. Also, if you guys are interested in a private reading or in a custom crystal bracelet, feel free to reach out to me either through the contacts page on my website or through my Instagram or my email. But yeah, that was your reading, group 4. What? Group 4. All right, you guys, lots of love to you. Bye. Oh, and by the way, happy Lunar New Year. I know it's already a couple of days past, but still, happy Lunar New Year. Bye, guys.